of educational solutions for the nursing and health science professions. We are dedicated to listening to our customers and to developing innovative products empowered by the technology that is changing how students are learning, instructors are teaching, and professionals are practicing. Our entire team is dedicated to meeting your needs in key programs. These programs include medical assisting, phlebotomy, massage therapy, IV therapy, emergency medical services, medical terminology, and anatomy and physiology. We measure our success by your successes. Call on us to learn more and enjoy CETI.
Many have heard the saying, people are your most valuable asset. That is a fact. And HRCP, the leader in human resources preparation, is looking for additional colleges and universities willing to teach HR certification prep courses. This will open up doors to many in your area looking to advance their HR career. The HRCP Turnkey course will prepare them to take any HR certification exam. HRCP works with many educational institutions who teach our materials on their campus. We have a shining reputation in the industry that comes from 25 years of innovative exam preparation. Want to partner with us to help prepare students, increase revenue, and fill a need in your area? Simply log on or give us a call today.
Welcome to the American Medical Certification Association, working together to develop quality allied healthcare professionals. AMCA continues to provide free study material and practice tests, free job placement assistance, free instructor testing, along with comprehensive reporting and our top quality customer service. The AMCA has 11 certification exams, 5 NCCA credit exams, and 3 career advancement programs. Choose the AMCA for your national certification needs.
CIW is a leading provider of information technology skills to students and professionals around the world. CIW is recognized in more than 90 countries as an industry standard in IT education and certification by academic institutions, governments, businesses, and professionals alike. As a global leader in IT education, CIW has educated more than 1 million students and awarded more than 160,000 professional certifications throughout thousands of high schools, colleges, universities, and learning centers worldwide. We prepare students for careers in web development, web design, network and database administration, cybersecurity, applications development, software development, digital marketing, graphic design, and video animation. CIW, where technology careers are built.
Aceware Systems is proud to be a sponsor of the 2021 SETI Conference. For over 30 years, we've worked alongside you to provide the tools you need for course management and registration. We understand the unique needs and challenges of non-credit programs. We know you need software as flexible and customizable as the programs you develop for students and industry. Contact us to see Aceware in action. When you're ready for a change in a software partner, we're ready to help you grow your program. Enjoy the conference.
F.A. Davis is an independent, family-owned publisher of educational solutions for the nursing and health science professions. We are dedicated to listening to our customers and to developing innovative products empowered by the technology that is changing how students are learning, instructors are teaching, and professionals are practicing. Our entire team is dedicated to meeting your needs in key programs. These programs include medical assisting, phlebotomy, massage therapy, IV therapy, emergency medical services, medical terminology, and anatomy and physiology. We measure our success by your successes. Call on us to learn more and enjoy CETI.
Many have heard the saying, people are your most valuable asset. That is a fact. And HRCP, the leader in human resources preparation, is looking for additional colleges and universities willing to teach HR certification prep courses. This will open up doors to many in your area looking to advance their HR career. The HRCP Turnkey course will prepare them to take any HR certification exam. HRCP works with many educational institutions who teach our materials on their campus. We have a shining reputation in the industry that comes from 25 years of innovative exam preparation. Want to partner with us to help prepare students, increase revenue, and fill a need in your area? Simply log on or give us a call today.
Welcome to the American Medical Certification Association, working together to develop quality allied healthcare professionals. AMCA continues to provide free study material and practice tests, free job placement assistance, free instructor testing, along with comprehensive reporting and our top quality customer service. The AMCA has 11 certification exams, 5 NCCA credit exams, and 3 career advancement programs. Choose the AMCA for your national certification needs.
webinar. John, it says I'm in the webinar, but I don't see anything. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to our next session in the Continuing Education Training Institute, or CETI. I want to start off first by thanking all of our great sponsors, platinum, gold, and silver sponsors, the likes of which that without their great support, this would not be free for everybody to attend at no cost. We want to thank people like Core Education, our own ProTrain, our great friends at CompTIA, Xenograde Student Registration Systems, F.A. Davis, ACEware Registration Systems, the American Medical Career Certification Association, HRCP, and our friends at CIW. Next chart. Just a few housekeeping rules. If you've not been on one of these sessions before, the session is completely recorded. So if you weren't able to come to today's session, or you got hayed at the last minute to go cover down for the boss, for him or her in a meeting, this session will be recorded. The links to the PDF files for the presentation will automatically be available after CETI completes at the end of the week. All attendees who are joining us will automatically be muted when joining. And then we encourage people to use the Q&A box located on the lower navigation bar for all your questions. And then we'll get to those questions at the end of the session. Please enjoy using social media, using our hashtag CETI 2020, as well as seriously consider joining our CETI alumni group in LinkedIn, where long after the dust of CETI settles, people can still collaborate between educators and industry leaders about what things that they've learned during our sessions this week. So I highly recommend people go ahead and join our CETI alumni group in LinkedIn. Next chart. Today's presentation is student success in the tech economy. We've heard about one presentation that talked about the technical gap. And today you're going to hear about how students can succeed about learning and filling those gaps in the technical economy. We are very privileged to have Kirk Smallwood, who's the Senior Vice President for Business Development for the U.S. academic market in CompTIA, as our presenter today. I've known Kirk for a number of years, and he's responsible for a great team of individuals who work with both secondary and post-secondary school partners and providing academic programs that help schools and other not-for-profit training entities provide valuable training resources designed to help schools incorporate CompTIA's fantastic certifications and curriculum within their programs of study. Kirk is also responsible for business development in Latin America and the Caribbean, and has been with CompTIA doing that since 2009. Okay. For over 25 years, Kirk has worked for the Technology Trade Association, and previously, before that, he worked for the Consumer Tech Association, where he was the Director of Sales Operations for the International Consumer Electronics Show, which is the largest technology show in the world. We are very privileged and honored to have today Kirk Smallwood as our presenter. So Kirk, without further ado, it's all yours, sir. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you. The pleasure is mine. I'm blushing after that introduction. Thank you so much. It is always a pleasure to speak to this audience, and always enjoy partnering with Kevin and Betty and the whole team there at ProTrain. So we're going to talk about a few things today. We'll talk a little bit about CompTIA for those of you who may be just a little familiar with us or very familiar. You'll probably learn something, I hope. The state of the tech industry currently, some misnomers about learning tech, the IT skills and confidence gap. We'll talk about certifications, CompTIA certifications specifically, and then learning materials that we have. Some things that you can do, some of my suggestions of how you can incorporate and accelerate learning and successful learning in the classroom or anywhere, I guess, for that matter. Some complementary resources we'd love for you to use. These are all free resources, but that is not meaning they are not valuable. These are great resources that you can use within your classrooms, within your schools. And then some Q&A, as Kevin said, with whatever time we have left. So about CompTIA, we are a global not-for-profit IT association. We've been around for a number of years, and I would say we're most well known for our globally recognized, industry recognized certifications. But we do a lot of other things besides that. Since we're an association, we bring the industry together through communities and councils and different events to network and share what's happening in their neck of the woods, whether it's cybersecurity or diversity, whatever it may be. They share their experiences and what their challenges are in the hopes that we can help overcome those challenges by working together. And, you know, it's the old rising tide raises all ships type experience where you bring even competitors together and they're helping us help them succeed in the industry and grow the industry. We do this a lot through education. We have a lot of small companies, small, medium IT businesses, especially that need a lot of help running their business. They may be technology experts, but they don't always know from a day-to-day aspect how to run a business. We provide a lot of support around there, help them with thought leadership, research that helps show them trends happening in the industry, which I'll share some today, to just help guide them, be very prepared for what's coming down the pike in terms of technology and what's happening in the business environment. And then certifications, again, we're the largest vendor neutral IT certification body in the world. I talked about how we bring people together. The reason we started making certifications way back when with our first A+ was because the industry got together decades ago and said, you know what, we need something to validate that this person can do the job of help desk. Help desk was exploding, IT support specialist was exploding. They needed something to verify that the person could do the job. And so lo and behold, we became the association that did that by creating the first A+ certification. And that's just the best example I can think of how we brought the industry together and came up with solutions. And A+ is still as strong today as it was back then. And then philanthropic efforts. We work a lot with underserved communities, with African Americans, with women, minorities, to help get them into IT careers. We have different programs that work with folks that have been in not great jobs that don't have much of a future, they aren't paying well, and these folks need to be supporting their families. And we're able to get them trained and certified in A+ and get them into apprenticeships. And like 90% of these folks are still in IT careers. It's really life-changing stuff. So that's just some of the stuff that we do that the certification revenue brings in for us. So let's talk about what's going on in the tech industry right now. As you can imagine, it's booming. There are so many tech jobs out there. There are about 1 million open tech jobs and not enough qualified people to fill them. So there's incredible opportunity. Just to showcase this a little bit, the graph on the left shows the unemployment rate, with the blue line on the top being all jobs within the US. You can see the huge spike that happened during COVID. Of course, that's improved, and we're more back to normal levels. But as you can see, the red line were tech jobs specifically, and you can see there was barely a blip when it came to unemployment in the tech industry when the giant blip happened, and that's just, it shows the strength of the tech industry and how in demand jobs are right now. And on the right, it just showcases how it doesn't really matter where you are in the US, there are tech jobs everywhere. Every city, really everywhere, is experiencing growth in tech jobs and demand. There's a 53% year-over-year tech job posting growth around the US. So that just gives you an indication of how in demand these jobs are. And just on the bottom of that little slide there, 40% of the jobs are coding jobs, but many people, and we'll talk about this more, think that tech jobs are coding jobs. In other words, that's really what a tech job is. It's coding, web development, et cetera. A lot of them don't realize that 60% of the tech jobs are not coding jobs. They're infrastructure, support, data, IT project management. So and you'll probably hear me say this several times because I just can't help it, but there's really something for everyone in the tech industry. If you're not interested in coding, fine. There's lots of other things you can do, network engineer, cybersecurity analyst, whatever it may be. So there's just so much opportunity out there for a variety of folks. From a job seeker's perspective and future job seekers, what they tell us that they're looking for, I don't think number one is any shocker, higher pay and benefits. Number two, job security and stability. And number three, and this has really grown, especially since COVID, when they got a taste of working from home often, they want a flexible work environment. They want to be able to work from home. If not all the time, then probably most of the time or half the time. So people expect this now. They got a taste of it with COVID, and they're expecting employers to be flexible with them and how and where they work. They want a work-life balance. They want to be able to have a life outside of work and work kind of when they want. As long as they're getting stuff done, who cares when I work? Let me have a work-life balance where I can have a little bit more flexibility in what I do. And then, of course, they want career growth opportunities. That's always important, not just getting a job, but getting into a pathway where there's truly a career waiting for them. The nice thing is, if you look at students age 13 to 18, 22% are considering a career in tech, and this is up from 16% previously. So that's very encouraging for us. We need a lot more people to consider tech for sure, just based on the amount of growth that we're anticipating. As you can see here on the right, not too shabby. We're fifth in terms of career field consideration, but there's absolutely no reason that shouldn't be first. Again, just based on the opportunity that hopefully we'll get through your heads as I talk about it more here. Now, there are certainly barriers to entry, at least in terms of people that are seeking jobs, perceived barriers. They're seeking jobs in tech. And this really ties into, we talk about the skills gap a lot, but the confidence gap is just as critical to overcome when it comes to tech jobs. So these could be things like fear of the unknown. I've never worked in tech. What is a tech job? I have some idea about it, but I'm not sure I know everything. Fear of starting in a brand new industry. Maybe they were in food service, construction, whatever it may be. This is not something I'm familiar with. I just don't know if I can do this. Concern over the affordability of training and education options, just the cost. How much is it going to cost me to get into tech? A fear of failure. I've never done this before. I'm worried about failing. I'm worried about not succeeding in this brand new venture. Concern over, not feeling prepared. Concern over the work itself. Thinking that, one of the misnomers is that tech is a very solitary job, that you're working by yourself in front of the screen all the time. There's concern that won't be very interesting. But these are just some of the confidence gap, just trying to get over the gap that people see that I don't think I can do this. I'm not sure if I can overcome these barriers. I just don't necessarily believe in myself. And it's a shame because there are a lot of people that are self-selecting themselves out when they absolutely could do the job. This slide, I just want to showcase, there's just so much growth in emerging tech positions. And it's funny, I look at some of these key growth areas, IT automation, machine learning, artificial intelligence, big data. These are terms that actually have been around for a number of years now, but it's just that now they're really becoming more and more mainstream. But even though they're becoming mainstream, there's still a tremendous amount of growth opportunity within all of these. So you're just seeing more and more postings in jobs where it comes to these emerging tech offerings. So that's great to see as well. Tech's always, and I think that's what makes tech so exciting. There's just so many different areas in which you can get into, and that's always changing. In 5 years, who knows what this list will look like. And then from an employer perspective, the nice thing is that you're hearing and seeing that organizations are starting to value certifications more and more in the process. Whereas before, they were frankly over-speccing job postings, saying that, we need someone with a 4-year degree and we need someone with like 5 years of experience, when that was just way more than really what the job was looking for or needed. So you're seeing that in terms of HR folks, they're saying certifications, 76 are saying certifications are a factor in hiring, 24% saying certifications generally not a factor, but that number has, the 76% has increased quite a bit over the years. And what's nice is 85% of HR professionals are seeing a shift towards relaxing 4-year degree requirements for candidates. Again, many of these folks have been over-speccing the job requirements, and that's been turning people away that very much could do the job. So that's great to see. I think the state of Maryland and one other state actually said, if you're a state employee, like working for the government, they relaxed the 4-year requirement on quite a number of their jobs. So that's just great to hear. On the bottom there, more emphasis on soft skills. I don't think that's ever changing. There's just an unquenchable thirst to find people that have the right soft skills, the ability to look people in the eye, work as a team, communicate effectively, show up on time. All these things continue to be in high demand. So I don't think that's going away anytime soon. We have been hearing this for years and nothing has changed. It's not going down at all. And then organizations are also placing more emphasis on reskilling and upskilling efforts. So taking their own employees and making them better, because otherwise you're just basically poaching employees from each other. And that's what's happening a lot in the industry. You're just seeing companies poach from one another. it's actually cheaper and more effective to upskill the current employees that you have. It takes less time, takes less effort. They're already right there. They're already within the culture. So why not upskill? The nice thing is it doesn't matter if you're large, medium, or small firms. They're all saying that this is more important to do right now in terms of reskilling and upskilling. And I would say the 5, 6, and 8% that say it's less important, I question whether those companies will actually be in business in the near future. Because if you think about it, if they're not upskilling their employees, they're not improving their employees, and they're staying with the company. So they're not improving them. They're just staying there, just staying where they're at. So they're not improving their skills, all the while things like cybersecurity become more and more complex. Or number two, if the employee leaves and goes to another company to get that upskilling, then that damages the reputation of your company as an employer, and it's going to hurt your company as well in terms of finding somebody who's better. So I look at that chart and I just shake my head, because there's no way that anyone should say that upskilling is less important now than it has been. So anyway, upskilling really, really critical. The nice thing about IT jobs is, well, I'll first say there's a misconception that there's so many IT jobs out there because they don't pay well, and nothing can be further than the truth. In fact, the median tech salary is double that of non-tech jobs. This is just one example, but this is an entry-level position, IT support specialist. This is an A+ certification holder. You're seeing the increase in salaries on average throughout the US. It doesn't really matter where you go. You could take West Virginia, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Illinois. It really doesn't matter. You're seeing a significant change in IT support specialist salaries. So the salaries are going up. Again, supply demand, and that's just really good for the industry. You've got lots of jobs and lots of good paying jobs. So the industry's never been stronger in terms of what it can offer potential workers. And then what's needed? This is based on what we hear from HR professionals. They're looking for less knowledge and more skills. So, four-year degrees are great, but can you actually do the job? Can you apply that knowledge and do the job? Do you have the skills to do the job? More training for teachers. There are just, we put so much burden on teachers to have to keep up, and the tech industry may be the worst of all because stuff changes so quickly in tech. We have to refresh our certs every 3 years to keep up with all the different changes in various technologies, and teachers have to do the same because they're the ones teaching it, and that's very, very challenging for teachers. We do some things to try to help teachers keep up, and I'll share some of those later. But anyway, it's very tough to be a teacher right now, and they need as much training as they can get. Soft skills we talked about before. We talked about the confidence gap. We need to challenge that. And then for generation Y and Z specifically, these are things that they are looking for. Whether you like them or not, this is what they're looking for if they want to consider working for your company. They want more cross-training. They want to cross-train with other departments and really learn what they're doing. They want more learning options, whether it's a cross-training opportunity, studying from home, something on their iPad, while they're riding the bus home from work, whatever it may be. They want more learning options, more experiences. They want autonomy and flexibility, again, to work when they want, where they want. They want more simulations in gaming. They really take to gaming. This is a big gaming, generation Y and Z. They're used to it. They love gaming. They learn from that. And there's more e-learning options. They like e-learning. They don't mind learning remotely. That's no big deal for them. They've just been through COVID where they had to do this quite a bit. So now, hey, I can do this. I can learn from home. So my son, for example, loves learning from home. He was sad when they had to go back to school. He likes the social aspect, but he really learned well while at home, and he liked the learning aspect. So there's a lot of folks out there like that. So I touched about some of these, but I want to touch more about some misunderstandings about tech careers. So we have the confidence gap, which is really affecting things. And part of that is people think you've got to be a science or math genius to be a tech, have a tech career. And that's absolutely not true. There are just so many jobs out there that do not require science or math genius level skills. Maybe a little bit, maybe you have some experience in science or math, but it's not like you have to have some amazing degree of genius level math or science skills to be in IT. There is, again, something for everyone. All tech jobs are coding jobs. Well, we went over this one. About 40% of tech jobs out there are related to coding and web development, but that's just 40%. The other 60% are, again, infrastructure, cybersecurity, data, help desk, what have you. But people just associate tech with web, with coding. And unfortunately, they may think, well, I'm not interested in that, so I'm not going to get into tech because that's not my interest. Well, that's fine. There's lots of other things to get interested in, but we just have to let people understand that, and many times they don't. There are no IT jobs outside of big cities. Well, we know this is not true. You can work remotely from anywhere. So the tech jobs can be there too. I work out of my home in Fairfax, Virginia, and my company is actually based in Downers Grove, Illinois. When I have a tech problem on my computer, guess what? The tech folks there dial into my computer. They can basically take it over. They can adjust some settings here and there and fix whatever needs to be fixed. So tech jobs can be anywhere and service anyone anywhere. So that's obviously false. And then an IT job requires a 4-year degree. This is a big one. And again, I've already talked on this some, but 4-year degrees are not absolutely necessary in tech jobs. When you look at most tech jobs, about 92% of the postings indicate that they are requiring a college degree. But if you really dig into what they're looking for, the number is really closer to 40% need a college degree. There are a big amount of tech jobs that you could get through, you could get by having like an associate's degree, some certifications, et cetera. You do not have to have a 4-year degree, especially just to break in. There are tons of jobs waiting for folks just to break in if you have some certifications, and a 2-year degree certainly helps as well. But we have to get over this misnomer that a 4-year degree is the end all be all, because it's not, especially in tech jobs. And then you have to be a male to work in IT. I hope this is obvious, but no, we need more women in IT, many more. There's about 25% of the IT workers out there are women. That number actually surprised me. It doesn't feel like it, but I'll take our word for it. So we need to get more women in there. And I think they've just traditionally thought that's a male job. There's no place for women there, and nothing could be further than the truth. We have many women that we're working with that are doing great things. Let's talk about certifications, CompTIA certifications, and then learning materials. So when we create certifications, and the reason why we're globally and industry recognized is because we first do a needs analysis. Is there a need for a certification for this job role? Is this a job role that is going to be big, not just now, but in the future? We're not going to waste a lot of time on creating certifications for stuff that may be sunsetting, jobs that may be changing or evolving, just in the next couple of years. We will want to look at stuff that's going to be needed in the foreseeable future, that there's going to be high demand for this. So we first analyze that. Is there a need for us to create this certification? And we listen to the industry. Then we do an industry-wide job task analysis. We talk to the industry. We talk into subject matter experts. What is specifically the job role or roles that this certification maps to? What specifically do they need to know? Knowledge, skills, and abilities. What does the certification need to cover to ensure that they can do the job? And that's working with the industry. Then once we've determined that, we bring in those subject matter experts. If you go to our home office in Downers Grove, Illinois, at any given time, there's a good chance you'll see a whole bunch of subject matter experts that we lock in our basement. And no, I'm just kidding, we don't lock them in, but they stay there with us for a week to 2 weeks, and they're helping us literally write the exam question by question so that it meets their specifications on what this exam should cover. And the subject matter experts are just critically important because we know a lot, but we don't know everything. These are the folks that know what they're talking about. They know the job role. They know the experience that the person needs to have, and knowledge, skills, and abilities that needs to happen to do the job correctly. And then our certifications are ANSI ISO accredited. So that means we have to refresh them every 3 years. So we perform ongoing maintenance to do so. They have to evolve every 3 years. Technology changes at light speed sometimes, and we have to keep up. If we want to work with somebody like the Department of Defense, one of our largest customers, we have to be ANSI ISO accredited. But it's a good thing because you're always having the most up-to-date exam whenever you take it. So that's how we create certifications, and that's why we're so recognized globally and industry-wide. Now, one of the benefits, or several benefits that we found of certified IT professionals is that, and these are all attributes that employers are just craving, and these are some byproducts that we found of certified IT staff. They're better able to understand new technologies. Great thing, right? Because technologies are changing all the time. They're more productive. They're more insightful with problem solving. Problem solving, we hear more and more HR professionals asking for. We need people that can solve problems when they pop up. Better project management skills. If you think about, there's almost no job that doesn't have some degree of project management. Figuring out timelines, who else is involved, what needs to happen, at this point, at this point, at this point. So project management is something pretty much everyone does every day to some degree. It may not be your actual profession, but project management is everywhere. Better communication skills. We talked about how people are desperate for soft skills. We call them durable skills now. To be able to communicate internally, externally, communication is just critically important. It can ruin or enhance relationships depending on how you do it. So it's just great to know that certified folks tend to have more of these attributes than non-certified folks. I just want to show you this snapshot of our certifications. If you're familiar with us, you're probably especially familiar with A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus. We kind of loosely refer to those as our big three. There are three oldest certs and really provide the core backbone for many, many IT jobs. And we really have three main pathways that those feed into. One is extremely new, but we really focus on infrastructure, where you start bringing in addition, things like Server Plus and Linux Plus and Cloud Plus. Cybersecurity, of course, is a very hot one. Two of our newest certifications are CISA Plus, which is Cybersecurity Analyst, and Pen Test Plus, which is penetration testing. And those are critically important and are growing like crazy, because cybersecurity analysts, those are people that are detecting the undetectable, the threats within the system, the network, that until the Target hack happened several years ago, we were just completely unaware of these advanced persistent threats. They're really undetectable unless you know what you're looking for. But firewalls and other just common means of stopping these threats are not going to work on these. And that's what was so eye-opening about the Target hack, was that we needed cybersecurity analysts to have the tools and resources to find these things before they happen and create massive damage. So that's been a really popular one. And then pen test is coming out the other way as an ethical hacker. So coming in as like you're acting like a hacker to find the weaknesses in the network. So those are two of our newest and most popular certs now. Cybersecurity is just booming, as you can imagine. And then CASP, which is Advanced Security Practitioner, and that's our most advanced cert. I can't imagine passing that cert personally, but it's a very good one and very, very tough one. And then our newest pathway, which we're really excited about, is data and analytics. We launched our first cert in this pathway called Data Plus, and we're launching two new ones next year. One is data systems and the other is data science. Data, if you're not aware, is everywhere. I kind of like to liken it as the newest currency. I mean, you go back, there's oil, there's gold. Now it's data. Data is everything. The ability to mine it, understand it, interpret it, and then explain it to other people within the organization so that they understand what are the opportunities, what are the challenges here. Just in very simple terms, the first time I think I really started to experience data analytics was the movie Moneyball. I love that movie. I'm a huge baseball fan. And I just loved how that was really the true story of how the Oakland A's overcame their payroll deficiencies, because they have a very low payroll, because of this data analyst who was able to mine this really important data of players that other teams were missing. But it gave them a leg up on other teams, even though they had such a smaller payroll than other larger market teams, that they became really successful. And that's the best way I can think of to equate data analytics. It's just critically important because it helps you find those hidden gems. The mining is almost literal. You're finding gems, hidden diamonds that can give you information that can help you get a leg up on the competition and really understand what's going on. So Data Plus, we're just so excited about, and there's tremendous opportunity there. Again, I talked about how when you create a cert, there's got to be demand out there for it, and there is huge demand for data analytics skills. There are more than 730,000 job ads just in the last 12 months that were asking for data analytics related skills. So this is only going to go up. We project a 22% 10-year growth. And again, good salaries there. Median annual salary, $75,000. And what's interesting about this cert, of course, really most of our certs are IT related, but this cert is something that could fall in a number of different programs, not just an IT program within a school. This could be in, a business program, any number of business programs. Because if you think about it, data is everywhere. There's not an industry that doesn't need IT workers, and there's not an industry that doesn't need to be able to understand the data that they are collecting. So not just certs, we also have our own learning materials as well. We didn't always have that. For years and years, we relied on other partners out there to create the learning content that was used in the classroom. And we were just kind of the end part. We were the certification at the end of the class. Well, after a lot of feedback from partners about, you know, the quality or lack of quality of some of the materials out there, and they want things to be simple. They want to come to one place and get everything that they need. And for many years, they couldn't do that. They could get the cert from us, but they have to go out and figure out from all these other partners what certification content they were going to use. And that was kind of a pain. And so people like to keep things simple. They like to come one place and get everything that they want. So we thought with all that, and we wanted to make sure, you know, our goal is for people to pass the exam. That is the goal. And so we wanted to have out there the best content that will allow people to do that. And so we released our own content several years ago with really three main products. One is called Cert Master Learn, and this is really what I like to call an ebook on steroids. This is a e-learning that can be used in the classroom or remotely. So it's great for COVID. If God forbid that ever happens again, but if it does, Cert Master Learn can have you prepared. We've saved many instructor skins with Cert Master Learn over the COVID years. And it's got, you know, video, it's got interactivity, it's got flashcards. Most of all, I think it's got tremendous reporting so that the instructor can see at any time how the student is progressing. So again, whether it's remote or in person, the instructor can see everything that's going on. How much have they progressed? How much time are they spending on these things? Okay, they're not doing well, but look, they're not spending any time on these lessons. So no wonder they're not doing well. But it allows them to get a window into the student or the class as a whole and understand where they need to provide more support, less support, what have you. So it's a tremendous learning platform. Then the Cert Master Labs is how you apply that knowledge. I think labs are maybe one of the most critically overlooked pieces of content that teachers should be using. Labs should be in every classroom because it shows that they can apply that knowledge, and that's really what employers are looking for. They don't care what you know, they care if you can apply it and do the job. So the labs are critically important. We have actually an integrated version where the labs and learn are all together in one product. So you don't have to click onto another product to go to the lab portion. So labs are critically important. And then we have a third product called Cert Master Practice. And that is a great companion tool throughout the course to kind of reinforce what you learned that day. And then at the end, it simulates an actual certification exam. It's timed, it's the same number of questions. So you really get a feel for what the experience would be like taking the certification exam. And that's really good to help give the student confidence that they can do it, all with the goal at the end of getting certified and being job ready. That's a little bit about our content. Again, some of the benefits is when you buy content from us, it's come from the same organization that produces certification. It's a one-stop shop. We are making sure that the content is strictly aligned to the exam objectives, checked and validated by third parties to make sure that our content is. There's a consistent approach throughout the e-learning labs and assessments. Since it's all coming from one source, we keep the nomenclature, it flows well. So even though it's three different products, they all flow together beautifully. If you can imagine, if you're buying books from one place, labs from another, test prep from another, there's a good chance they're not going to flow together as nicely as you want. But since we're providing all the information from one place, it's very consistent. And then we release the content in timely fashion. There are some other content providers that release stuff sometimes months after the certification exam is launched. We're always releasing our content timely with the exam launch. And then we support, of course, we have content for all of our certifications. There are some content publishers out there that just focus on, say, A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, but they don't do CISA Plus, they don't do pen tests. They just have kind of their niche of content that they do for our certifications. We, of course, have certifications for all of it. So hopefully that explains some of the benefits of our own content. So these are some of my suggestions of what you can do as instructors or schools within your programs. And I don't care if this is an IT program or healthcare or whatever it may be. I would identify the top industry recognized certs within that field. Again, healthcare, IT, I don't care what it is. Identify what those are. Map your classes to map to those certifications so that while they're taking your course, they may be mapping towards a degree, but also be ready and preparing them to take a certification at the end there. Because again, hopefully I've explained how much certifications are becoming more and more, they're already important, they're becoming more and more important every year in the views of HR professionals. If you can come out with a degree and the certifications, or they go through your training class or workforce training class and come out with a certification, that's just making them job ready. So map your classes. Generally, we help with some of the mapping. If you need help, we can certainly try to help as well. Our products team, whenever they have time, they love to do that kind of thing. But we usually find most classes are almost there. It's just a few tweaks that you need to make to get the class to align to the certification. So, take advantage of us. I would recommend making certs a mandated part of the outcome. Make the student take the exam. Even if you don't end up making the exam the capstone, meaning like you got to pass the exam to pass the class, even if you don't do that, make them take the exam, because if they're going to get into IT especially, they're going to have to get used to taking exams. There are so many certs out there, they're going to have to get used to it. So you might as well make them take it and explain to them while they're doing it why it's important to get certified, why they're recognized, why HR professionals are looking for these. Most importantly, get your instructor certified. Make sure the instructors are certified in the current cert that they are teaching. We have many versions. We're on the 11th version of A+ right now. If you have an instructor that's on the 9th version of A+, they're probably not going to teach the 11th version very effectively, is my guess, because things have changed a lot in those 6 years. So get your instructor certified. And then anytime you can incorporate hands-on, group-based, or project-based type learning, that is always really effective. People like it, it's more engaging, and they tend to learn it better. So anytime you can incorporate that, the better. And then work-based learning. Any opportunities you can set up to have industry professionals speak to your students, or better yet, have them do a field trip out to a company, or get them involved in apprenticeships and internships. Those are incredibly valuable experiences, especially because in the latter two, they're getting a really good experience of what the job is on a day-to-day basis. What's a day in the life of a network engineer? And they can experience that, and it may help them make some really tough decisions. Like, maybe I figured out I don't want to do this. I still want to be in tech, but this particular job, no. I realize what it is now. I'm not interested in doing that. So that can be really, really valuable. We have a lot of great complementary resources that I want you guys to take advantage of. First of all, we have, if you're not already an academic partner with us, please sign up. If you're a school, it's free to join. We provide a lot of great benefits, namely discounted, heavily discounted exams and learning materials. We have all kinds of tools of like a certification verification tool, whereas if you provided the certification voucher to the student, but they didn't tell you if they passed or not, they went off and just took it, but didn't tell you, you can plug in their voucher and figure out that they did pass or not. We have monthly newsletters, we have monthly events, webinars, all kinds of great stuff. I'm going to highlight a few of these, but just there's no reason not to be an academic partner. The only requirement is you have to buy something within a year. It could be one exam voucher, it could be one piece of content, whatever. That's just needed to maintain active status, but to join itself is free. So one of our best tools, I know Kevin loves this tool, is our career pathways tools. This is an interactive tool here, and there's the link to it. But you can go on here. This is just a great visual for people considering an IT career and giving them a kind of a visual representation of what that career might look like. So they could click on, in this example, we clicked on cybersecurity specialist. Tells you median national salaries, annual job postings, expected job growth rate. And then if you click on learn more, then it's going to show you some other screens as far as like from entry level to intermediate to expert level. What are the different types of certs and skills that you can expect to get along your pathway to, say, expert level? What type of job roles are there that map to these certifications? Just some great information. It really helps help students visualize, especially like, hey, I know I need to take some certs. I don't understand which ones, because we have not just ours on there. We have other industry recognized certs within this pathway tool, and it's really, really helpful. And we're always looking to improve it. So please use it. Let us know how we can make it better. So that's one tool. It's free right now. Another great site is called CyberSeek, and that's found at cyberseek.org. This is specifically for cyber jobs. We got a grant from NICE, the National Initiative for Cyber Education, and we worked with Burning Glass, who does all the jobs data, and we created this site, and it has several tools. One is a heat map, so you can click on a state or a metro area, and you can see the ratio of open IT jobs versus qualified workers there to fill them. And spoiler alert, the ratio is bad everywhere. There's not nearly enough people qualified to fill these jobs, no matter where you go, no matter what state you go in. It's just a matter of how much worse is it from one state to another? So it just shows the high demand for cyber jobs. And then there's also a pathway tool you can click on and see some of these job roles, the certifications that most people are looking for in relation to these job roles, salaries, et cetera. It's a really great tool. We just got the grant funding approved again for another like 5 years to keep this going. And we've made it better and better. So please use that. We have another, oh shoot, I thought I had a slide on this, but I guess I don't. I'll just mention one other tool. We have another site called cyberstates.org, similar to CyberSeek, except it's for all IT jobs, not just cyber jobs, not just cybersecurity jobs, but all IT jobs, similar thing. There's a heat map of states. You can see, a specific metro area, the different types of IT jobs there, the different job roles. And we even included a diversity index. So you can see how certain states are doing diversity-wise. How many diverse people are they employing in specific IT job roles? So that one again is called Cyber States. I must have accidentally deleted that slide. Sorry about that. But if you get on there, it's pretty self-explanatory, and you can see how to use it. Maybe the best resource we have, I think, is called the CompTIA Instructor Network, another free resource. So I talked about how a big challenge is having instructors, keeping them up to speed on their training. There's a lack of qualified instructors out there, and this is a challenge that we're going to continue to face. I think there's, unfortunately, a lot of people leaving the teaching industry. It's really tough out there. But we created the CompTIA Instructor Network to help instructors teach our CompTIA certifications. And so it's a community of more than 7,000 instructors from all over the world. I would say most of them are in the academic space. Most of them are with schools. And it provides a community, number one, for them to connect, share best practices, share challenges, help each other in the classroom. How did you overcome this challenge? I'm having a hard time teaching this segment, whatever it may be. And they share resources with each other. But mainly, we do a number of different webinars. We do like sneak peek webinars well before our certs come out, so you can get a sneak peek at those. But then we also do train the trainer webinars. So like when we launched the new Data Plus, we did several weeks of webinars, like 2 webinars a week over the course of several weeks to help provide tips and tricks and best practices in teaching the certification. So we're here to help. We're here to try to help you teach the exam and trying to give as much support and best practices as we can. Things to emphasize, things to focus on when doing that. So that is another great resource. You can join at send.comptia.org. And I believe I just have one more slide. This is a new tool that we just launched, and it's really great for your students to calculate earnings potential. So this is a IT salary calculator. So what you can do is select the IT occupation, select the experience level, and then select the state or metro area that they're in, and then they can see kind of what the salary trends are looking like there, earnings potential, whether it be early career, mid-career, or advanced career. So this just helps, again, crystallize what an IT career might look like, but specifically in a location where they are living or looking to live. So it really helps narrow that down as to not be so general, like this is the average salary. They can really see what it is in that specific area. And it covers 400 states and metro areas throughout the US. So this is a really cool new tool I'm excited about. You can see the link there below. And I think that is it. And so, Kevin, I am more than happy to answer any questions that you may have out there.
Okay, I would, first of all, Kirk, I learn about 10 new things every time I hear your briefing, even though I heard it before in the dry run. I just learned about 5 new things and was taking notes here. Okay. Just a reminder, put your questions that you want asked down in the Q&A box on the taskbar. I've got one here that's been submitted already. Kirk, what's the most commonly used combination of products that your college partners or school partners are using?
Well, I don't know if they mean like, in general, I would say there's, most folks have converted over to like e-learning rather than using like a textbook because again, it can be used remotely. Generally, if it's like ours, again, there's lots of cool features in there with reporting to really monitor the progress of students, whether they're in person or not. And students these days, they're so used to picking up a tablet, a phone, a computer. That's just how they learn. So I would say definitely that. Again, labs are critically important. If you're not using labs, you really need to be, because again, it's one thing to have the knowledge that you're learning, but then to apply that is critically important as well. And the labs really help enforce that. Okay, I can take that knowledge and synthesize it and actually do the work, because it's simulating. Our labs are using virtualization. You're actually going into an actual computer, so you're working on an actual computer remotely, and so you can really start to learn that and apply that knowledge. And then I do think, again, sorry about my phone. I do believe that test prep is incredibly important, because confidence is everything. And you want somebody feeling confident going into the exam, and the test prep, like in our case, Cert Master Practice, it really helps you see, are there still any deficits in there? Because it's going to tell you if there are. It's going to tell you, okay, you didn't get this right. Revert back to this section, study this a little bit more, and it's going to give you that confidence that you know that you're ready to take the exam. Because again, it simulates the exam. You can take a timed practice exam and understand and take as many times as you want until you feel like you really get that process down. It's nerve-wracking. I would be nervous as heck to take one of our exams. They're not easy. I mean, they're worth their weight for sure, but they're not easy. And so you want that confidence going in there. So I really encourage all three types of products, whether they're ours or somebody else's. Obviously, I'm biased, but I think the learning, e-learning, labs, and test prep are all critically important. And more folks that we work with are buying all three.
Well, and I will tell you, fans, that we're very privileged to have worked with Kurt, and we've got a Moodle-based LMS. Okay, we have integrated with Kirk's guys. Okay, and we've got everything that he just showed you: the content, the live labs, the practice exam questions. Okay, and all. I mean, there's nothing more frustrating to be preparing for an exam. All of a sudden, go to the exam, and it's not the network 007 exam. Now it's the network plus 008 exam. You're like, well, what's that mean other than the number's higher? Well, if the number's higher, there's probably been some things added to the exam blueprint that's been ANSI ISO verified with your industry, that you must now also know these other things to be considered job ready. Okay, but it has provided us one-stop shopping, and I can tell you that, and the resources that you shared, Kirk. I probably talk to soldiers and people in workforce offices several times a day, if not over the course of a week, where I'm literally saying, are you at your computer? Okay, go to CompTIA.org with me, and I take them right to your career roadmap, show them. I call them the village people, the five different areas. Okay. And let's say cybersecurity specialist. Okay, so let's go there. Let's look at beginner, intermediate, and advanced roles, responsibilities. Their eyes light up when they see the potential for not just roles, responsibilities, but pay. And they see the job growth. I mean, when the job growth is 3 to 5%, they go, okay. But when the job growth is double digit, as in most of your credentials are, because we're shy, that tech gap that we talked about earlier in the week here. Okay, they're clamoring to get that. That said, another question I've got here is, can you tell us, what is CompTIA as a training entity trying to do to try to just attract more people to come to IT careers in general?
That's a good question. It's definitely a challenge. We announced actually at our conference a couple months ago that we're taking on a project. We're calling it Project Agora. Agora is like the Greek word for, I think, marketplace. It probably won't be called that, but just for this purposes, it's called Project Agora. Project Agora is going to be eventually, when completed, and it may never be completed. It'll probably always be updated, but I imagine it may be another year or so before we launch it, but it will provide a place on the web. Really, we want to be the place where somebody comes to learn about IT careers. And we will focus on initially 30 different IT job roles. And there will be education about what those roles are, how you get there, salaries, even maybe the cost and type of education you would need to get there. learn from people that are doing the job, like a day in the life of. We'll have actual professionals out there doing the jobs that you can learn from doing that. And there'll be education on the job. So I'm probably not doing it justice, but we're hoping to create this one area where people can go to and just learn everything they need to about what those job roles are. And we're going to start again with probably the top 30 job roles and have a lot of detail on all those. And
well,
we just want to.
It is important because you not only describe the what there, Kurt, you describe the why. And this younger generation, yeah, they understand theory and stuff like that. Okay, but they're always asking our instructors, okay, why do I need this? What's the application of this in this credential course? Where am I going to see that commonly used in the job place? Why do I need to know that item? Okay, this is where all that comes together. Okay, and then this is why, you talked about credentialing your instructors. We're very privileged that both of my IT instructors are CTT certified, CompTIA trainer certified, so they know how to teach your content best. And they really enjoy the collaborative effort of that CIN, the network that you talked about, because there's always a new cookie formula that somebody's figured out, okay, this was kicking my guy's tail because, pen test, like first time pass rate on pen test nationally is about like 38, 39%. This is what I did to break the code. All of a sudden I went from 38% to 54%. Guys, that's a huge jump if you can garner that type of a surge, and you want to be able to share that, because at the end of the day, our instructors are not competing against one another. They're competing about who can produce the best student outcomes for our students and your students. That's when you're getting it right. I've got a question from Lynn that says, I'm currently teaching IT fundamentals and A+ as college courses. We use the Cert Master Learn and labs. I presume there's a discounted student price that we can get for your certification exams. Where can I go view that price to quote to the students?
Yeah, now I'm assuming Lynn is with a academic institution, or?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Lynn, let me put my info on the screen again. Let me please reach out to me, shoot me an email, and I will get you to the proper business development manager to get you the answers to all that. They can get you a specific quote on exactly what you need, and just make sure you're all set up with all the resources that you need. So if you don't mind, just shoot me an email and we'll have somebody get back to you promptly on that.
Right. And I can tell you, we enjoy that as well, because, we try to bundle exams with the programs. It's kind of like a one-stop shopping. Okay. I have to put a little bit of margin on there to pay for, my MIS directors, my John Hopkins time on there, who's, doing that stuff and getting it there and connecting. But it's not an exorbitant ad, but because it's already coming to me at a discounted price, it's very, very reasonable. Okay. And that's the pricing model that we've used now for a number of years. The next question I have is, what is CompTIA thinking about in terms of launching certifications related to coding? Because you mentioned 40% out there was coding. Are there any plans out there around the bend for doing some certification training for coding?
It's something that we've always had on a whiteboard and never have pulled a trigger. And so it's always on our radar. There's nothing in the foreseeable future. I shouldn't say that. There's something we're considering, kind of like a foundations course, like something that's not necessarily a job ready cert, but something that
kind of like
can at least give you the base
fundamentals.
Yeah.
If you really want to be a coder, start here type thing.
Yeah, it's something we're considering. I'm not guaranteeing it'll come to light, but we're definitely considering it. But as of right now, no, nothing on coding. But
okay. Now you mentioned that part of being ANSI ISO certified is that every 3 years you're required to update your exam blueprints. Are there any instances that you can think of where you were required to put something out sooner than a 3-year gap?
No. There's so much thank God the requirement isn't less than that, because it takes a while. I mean, we put so much time and effort. If you think about, I forgot how many certs we have now, 15, 16. I mean, one, thank goodness they don't all expire at the same time. We obviously are smart enough to overlap things so that we have,
That'd be a Harry Carey event.
Yeah. I mean, we launched, just for example, we launched one new cert this year, Data Plus, and then had, I want to say, 3 or 4 new versions of certs launched. That's a ton of work. I mean, it takes that amount of time in between.
I think early in the year was the 1100 version of A Plus. I know we went from N007 to 008 for Net Plus. I can't remember a CYSA.
I think we have the new Project Plus coming out later.
Yes.
Gosh, I can't keep track anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, we need that much. We need the 3 years time to truly do it right and do it justice. We have to see where things are going, and then once we dive in, again, subject matter experts, job task analysis, what's changed. I mean, A plus from one of our challenges with A plus is people think they know what it is. They're like, oh, A plus, that's hardware and software. Well, yeah, but there's way more now, like troubleshooting, Internet of Things. I mean, just there's I mean, it's a completely different cert, as you can imagine. I mean,
when I read them the course outline and the different modules, they're going, you have all that in that course? I said, oh yeah, because if you don't have all of that in the course, oh, by the way, I'm getting all that content from CompTIA.
Yeah.
If you don't have all that, you're not going to be ready to take the practice labs, because you're going to be practicing theories that you've not even touched yet. Okay. And then you're going to get to the practice exam questions, and it's going to become stump to chump time. You're going to go, how did I not have the right material to prepare me for this? And if you know anything about education, if the word on the street is you've got bad or irrelevant training that doesn't prepare people to pass their credential exams, you are quickly forgotten and stepped over. Okay, so you have to be able to deliver on content that's relevant, and not only relevant to pass the exam. I mean, that's obviously the outcome you want, but more importantly, what does industry want these IT people to know when they show up on the job? That's why you have the luxury of saying you're ANSI and ISO certified, because without that, your stuff is not getting the good housekeeping seal of approval as a third-party vetted credential body. Okay, and people like the Army Credentialing Assistance Program, the Air Force School Program, the MyCA program, none of these, and a lot of workforce programs are not going to fund people just to take a course that shows them a little bit about computers, because when people see that credential name, they know that that's a good housekeeping seal, what Johnny or Sally's going to show up with tomorrow when they report to work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other thing I mentioned is I just want to thank you for mentioning soft skills too, because I can remember when we sat there back in Nashville a couple years back, and you know, you were there. Thomas Dawkins from Microsoft was there. We had HRCP, Danielle from AMCA was there. And after everybody talked about all their credentials, every one of you, to the man and lady, said, oh, by the way, you got to mix soft skills in with this, because people have got to understand that there's more than just fat finger in this cell phone when they get to the workplace, because it's required. Even if they're in a work from home environment, you still have to interface with people virtually, with clients and salespeople or whatever you're doing. And that's a soft skill that many people don't have. Or if they've been at the worker bee level and they now have to go to the manager level, there's a whole new skill set there of just being able to bring a team together and coach them and get them to train to do the right things. So I just want to thank you for mentioning that as well.
Absolutely.
I don't see any new questions, but I do thank the ones that have come in. Kurt, I want to thank you both personally and professionally for doing a great presentation. Like I said, every time we're on together, I learn about 5 new things, and I immediately run back to John Hopkins and say, we're doing that, right? Yes, we're doing that. We're working, we got it, and it's in our LMS. Okay, we got it. Breathe, butterfly, breathe, butterfly. But that's good because that's the expectations today. I would just once again want to thank all of our great platinum, gold, and silver sponsors that have been with us again this year. For without your support, we would not be able to provide this for free. A reminder that tomorrow is the third day of SETI. We're going to kick off at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for training in multi-generational workforce in the manufacturing industry and how to prepare people to do that. That is a huge demand right now, and I wanted to make sure we covered that in this year's SETI. We have a world-class briefer on that tomorrow. We're going to have AMCA talk about career demand and the healthcare certifications tomorrow, just like Kirk did for IT today. Daniel Segui, he's going to be with us virtually tomorrow, and we're going to have her presentation. Okay, and then we talked a little bit about data. Kurt, you talked a little bit about data and how those certs can do that. Okay, well, we're going to learn how does that data in a continuing education organization, how do you turn that into dollars? Okay, a great presentation by our friends at A-Square that'll show you why supportive administration is really important when picking the right types of data that you need for your educational entity. Okay, and then we're going to wind up at the end of the day with a workforce panel that has workforce experts from a couple of different states that are going to talk about best practices in general, what's going on in workforce development discussions and grants today. And I think it'll be a great ending to a very positive week for everybody. So once again, I want to thank everybody for being with us today. Kurt, my brother in training, thank you once again for all your great wisdom. Really appreciate you. I owe you probably a bottle of something, Silver Oak or something.
It's my pleasure. It's always my pleasure. So no problem.
Great job as always, my friend. So thanks again to everybody. Hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Have a great day. Take care. Thank you, Kurt.
Thanks.